You're now tuned in to the Real Money Coach broadcast with host Tony Jackson, author of the book Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money. Get ready for winning tips and strategies to effectively manage your finances and learn the key principles of protecting and dominating your money. Now, here's author and host Tony Jackson.
Welcome to the Real Money Coach Show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station. I am your host, Tony Jackson, and I am glad and excited that you are with me this morning. What a beautiful Saturday morning. As you all know, I'm a big football fan, and so coming off a great weekend for my beloved Wolverines, and so had a great showing in the championship, and so I'm excited about that, excited about the bowl season. And I'm excited about just being with you today and just talking about some of the things that we have going as we are preparing for 2024. And, a couple things that we talked about on my show last Tuesday was, are we going into a recession or are we not, those type of things. So, that is what we have going. And there's really just a couple, 5 things that we talked about that are important as it relates to that. Number one is, make sure that you have an emergency fund. Make sure you have an emergency fund, that you have it set up and that everything is working with that. That's number one. Number two is you want to make sure that you are reducing your debt. So if we are truly going into a recession, which some economic indicators, some economists think we are, some aren't. Of course, it's election year. But if we are, and these are good tips, really, even if we're not going into a recession, is you want to reduce your debt. Number 3 on our list is that you want to diversify your income sources. Having more than one source of income, whether it's a side gig or whether it's you're doing something like Amazon Flex, or you're doing some type of delivery, or you're doing some work from home, those type of things, freelance work, part-time work, anything to, be increasing and creating passive income streams, I think is important. The next thing that we shared on the show was just to review and analyze your budget, adjust your budget accordingly. We want to make sure that we are eliminating non-essential types of expenses and prioritize our spending, necessity, negotiating on our bills, looking at our income statements, our bank statements, credit card statements. Are we spending too much in streaming services? Did we forget to cancel some streaming services? There was even an article in the U.S. Today that's talking about, the streaming services and how we can pay a whole lot of money on streaming services that we don't really intend to. The other thing is you want to invest strategically. This is not a time to take risk. This is not a time to put yourself in a position where you're doing something that's uncomfortable. So you want to make sure that you're taking some time and doing that. Maybe you utilizing something that doesn't give you, that gives you some relief as far as making sure that you're not losing money due to the market. We talk about fixed index annuities, talked a lot about that last week. That is one strategy, as well as there's others. And then skill development and networking, right? So just, learning new skills, whether you're retired or whether you're on a job, that can make you more valuable, if you want to say it that way, more indispensable to your employer. And then having those skills can help you also go out and get those other jobs that you might need if you need to be in that position. And then, of course, networking is very important. And then finally, just reviewing your insurance coverage. Make sure that you have the right coverages in the right places, whether we're talking about your property, your auto, your home, certainly your health insurance, if you're retired, your Medicare. And then also on the other side of that is also making sure that you have life insurance. And life insurance could be a great tool for you in these type of times, because if you need to do something with the house, or something comes up and you need some place to get funds, having that in place, if you've already have it, that's going to make that could be a great resource. If you haven't, you just want to make sure that you can start those, make sure that, God forbid, unforeseen circumstances, that type of thing happen, untimely death, that you're covered, you're not leaving your family in a bind. So those were a couple of things that we talked about on the show this past Tuesday. Today I have a wonderful guest, Dr. Michelle Walker Davis. She'll be joining us here shortly. And she also will be our guest this coming Tuesday. I'll tell you a little bit more about her when we bring her on after we take a quick break. And my other major announcement for you is that at the end of this year, we will be concluding this as far as a radio broadcast. We will continue to do it as a podcast. So it will still be available on Google, Spotify, Apple. It will be available in those places. So make sure that if you have not, in YouTube, if you have not subscribed to our channel, if you've not subscribed to our YouTube, if you haven't done that in terms of, wherever you watch your podcast, you want to make sure you do that, so that when we release the show as a podcast, that you will be notified. But as far as being early on 7:30 on Saturday mornings on Praise, we're going to end that portion, but we're going to continue to bring you great information on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and also through the podcast. So with that, we're going to take a quick break, and then I'll be right back with you, and we'll have a special guest, Dr. Michelle Walker Davis.
Family, join author Tony Jackson for the Real Money Coach broadcast each and every Saturday morning from 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Praise 100.9. Mr. Jackson enlightens you on the real secrets of money. He'll also help you increase, protect, and dominate your money. You can also catch Tony Jackson's The Real Money Coach every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live and YouTube. Check out The Real Money Coach, Mr. Tony Jackson, every Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Praise 100.9.
This is Tony Jackson, the Real Money Coach. I use my deep understanding of personal financial principles and 25 years of experience to educate my clients and empower them to make informed financial decisions. I dive into the emotional and psychological aspects of money to help them uncover their own beliefs and behavior. I provide practical strategies through personalized coaching to overcome financial challenges build wealth, and achieve financial goals. To schedule your complimentary session with me, go to therealmoneycoach.com. I'm Tony Jackson. I'm the Real Money Coach.
And welcome back to the Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host, Tony Jackson.
Welcome back to the Real Money Coach show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station. I am your host, Tony Jackson. And as I reminded you before our break, this radio show is available as a podcast on all of the podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, Pandora, you name it. We're on all those platforms. So wherever you get your podcast, you want to make sure that you subscribe to us so that when we do go off the air, as far as the radio, you still will get all this wonderful information. And as always, you will tune in on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we have our wonderful radio guests will be guests on our live show. And that is the case this morning with Dr. Michelle Walker Davis. I told you before the break, I'll tell you a little bit about her, but I'm just going to tell you a snippet, right? And then she's going to come on and kind of fill in all the wonderful things that she does and that she's a part of. But Dr. Michelle Walker Davis is a free money expert, a global speaker, a philanthropist, a two-time award-winning author. She is the most requested speaker and coach in her field in terms of grants. She started a company, a firm, Imperial Management Group, IMG, right? They're a grant development firm. And we're really just proud because it is led by this wonderful Black woman and Dr. Davis, and they have done a tremendous amount of work in the community in terms of helping small businesses, nonprofits, women-owned, veteran-owned led businesses to get some of this $850 billion of grant money that's out there. They've expanded into also government contracting. So I am not going to say any more because I want you to hear it from her. Dr. Walker, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic, Tony. Great to be here. Hello, Charlotte.
All right. We're coming out in the air at the Queen City, right? And you and I have met on a couple different circles, right? We certainly were met at the Power Networking Conference, Dr. George Fraser. We've been a part of this group called RIG, which is the Roberts Innovation Group, with Dr. Michael V. Roberts. He and his brother combined are billionaires. So we've been running around in some of the same circles, Dr. Michelle, and it's just good to, we've worked together for, a year and a half in terms of RIG and some other things. And I've just been really, really impressed by what you're doing in your business and how your team go at it. So if you wouldn't mind just telling our listening audience a little bit more about yourself, the stuff that I missed, Syracuse and all that good stuff, and a little bit of that tremendous background you have.
Okay, so the first thing I'll start out with is my family. My husband and I both attended Syracuse University, and all four of our children are Syracuse alumni. We're known as the Davis Six. I've seen four chancellors come through Syracuse, and I've met with each and every one of them as an ambassador for the school. When I graduated from Syracuse University with a dual master's degree, one in public policy, the other in higher education administration, I went to work for the U.S. General Accounting Office. Now they've changed the name to Accountability Office, but it used to be Accounting Office. So I was the highest paid Black female at the Philadelphia regional office. And I was recruited, like I said, right out of school. And it was really a proving ground for me because the people that looked like me didn't know what to expect. They felt that I must be married to a white guy in order to come in at that level. And then my other counterparts saw me as a threat. They thought I was affirmative action and I was there, I was going to be given special treatment and all this other stuff. And, we know that that's not true, right? We do about 5 jobs compared to our counterparts. But anyways, it was a very, very rewarding position because the GAO works directly under the Comptroller General of the United States, and they are quasi-private in the fact that they're an independent agency that can come in and audit and evaluate any agency or any corporation that receives $1 of federal money. They can go in and audit their records. And so I was given some of the toughest assignments that they could throw at me. And I was able to excel in everything. So I went from a GS-9 to a GS-14 in 5 years, broke all records. You normally retire from the government at a GS-11 or 12. And then I went on from there to work for the state of New Jersey as a partnership coordinator, looking at shared services between New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York, because our people go across the bridge every day, and we're trying to see how can we cut costs for our state. And then from there, I worked as a health planner for Burlington County, where I'm from in New Jersey. I was responsible for putting together emergency management plans in case, anything were to happen through Homeland Security. This was right after September 11th. So I had a rewarding career, very rewarding career in federal, state, and local government. And I did not know that 20 some years later, I would have my own company specializing in government funding, grants, and government contracts.
Well, that's pretty awesome. That is an extensive background. Way back when, I won't say how long ago, because it was when I was still in high school. I said, I want to work for the GAO, the Government Accounting Office. That's what I knew. That's what I knew at the time about. I knew I wanted to go into accounting, and that's the thing that I knew. And I think I'd read about it somewhere or something, and that was attractive to me. It didn't happen. I went another route, but that was one of the things I wanted to do. I know that you are involved in a lot of great things, and including your nonprofit, and of course, obviously, the Imperial Management Group. And so what we need to do is take a quick break. When we come back from the break, I want to just kind of get into how you got into the grant making space, and then, what's on your heart in terms of the Women of Power and Transformation Initiative, the 501(c) that you have. Everyone, you're listening to the Real Money Coach Show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station.
Oh, my brother, you can look up. Oh, my sister, you've had enough. Things are changing. Follow the plan at hand he has for you. I'm a witness. Sometimes we cry. We will win this by morning time. Things are changing. Follow the plan and sing these words. Maybe trouble, no despair. Every challenge, I'm aware. God is for me. God is for me. God is for me. God is for me. My position understood. It's all working for my good. God is for me. God is for me. God is for me. God is for me.
Hey, Tony Jackson here. You know me as the Real Money Coach. Listen, I want to encourage you to do something. And what I want to encourage you to do is email me your questions, your comments, or even suggestions of topics that you'd like us to cover on the Real Money Coach Show. You can email it to info@therealmoneycoach.com. Again, that's info@therealmoneycoach.com. Email us your questions, your comments, your suggestions, and we will answer those on air and also on our Facebook Live YouTube show on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you email us so that we can get that information that you want to know in your ears. I am Tony Jackson, the Real Money Coach.
And welcome back to the Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host, Tony Jackson.
We are back. We are back to the Real Money Coach Show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station. I do want to remind you of this. I do want to remind you that if you have not had an appointment with me, if you've not had a chance to sit down, talk about your finance, talk about your goals for 2024, and how I may be of some assistance with you or point you in the right direction, please go to ipadappointment.com, schedule appointment. And guess what? Our guest that we're having this wonderful conversation with may just well be the person I point you to, because she is known as the $850 billion boss. Dr. Michelle, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Thanks for having me again, Tony.
Yeah, I'm enjoying our conversation. We've had great conversations through various Zooms on a weekly basis, and even outside of that. What I'd like to really kind of get into right now is tell us a little bit about IMG and how you got into the grant. I want to say grant making, but I know it's much more than that. Just kind of how you got into that industry and why people may want to tune in on Tuesday to find out more.
Okay, well, I stumbled into the industry because I had a number of car accidents, life-threatening car accidents. And psychologically, I did not want to drive and leave my house. And the position that I had, not only was I the health planner for Burlington County, but I was also teaching at 2 community colleges. So I was doing a whole lot, which required, you to be able to drive. So I ended up leaving the health department. And at the same time, my youngest son got a role with young Simba and in Disney's The Lion King as young Simba. So we went on the road for a year, and I still had to make a living. So I said, you know what? I can write grants. I had evaluated and audited 26 federal agencies for grants and government contracts. And I started doing that. And then it was all referral based. And now 23 years later, that's what I'm doing. But I'll tell you, Tony, when COVID hit, it changed everything. And the explosion in my company did not happen until COVID.
Wow. Well, and I think that has happened for some businesses where COVID, my wife jokes like, some people are living their best COVID life, right? Because it created opportunity.
Yes. And I truly am. So when COVID hit, George Floyd was murdered. The whole world opened up about disparities between Black people and white people. And we know we had the health disparity. We know that people of color were dying at a higher rate than our white counterparts. And then our housing is worth less. We're making less at work. Our businesses are making less revenue than our counterparts' business, all of these things. And then grants showed up, $850 billion in grants every year, but less than 4% is being awarded to women and all the minorities together. And then when I looked at government contracts, I found out, Tony, there's $8 trillion every year, but less than 1%. In fact, is 0.006% is being awarded to women and people of color. And that was very disturbing to me. $8 trillion. Yeah.
And we're just getting just a specket of that.
Right. We're not even getting 1%. The veterans are getting 1%. And we're not even getting 1%. So I've been an advocate for my people all my life. I don't know anything else, right? And so God tapped me on the shoulder and he said, it's time to do something about it. And so I changed my whole company around once I opened up my doors to our people. They were always open, but most of my clients did not look like us. And I had won like $20 million for the same 5 clients. And then when I opened up my doors to women and businesses of color and organizations of color, I found out they were not equipped to compete in those markets. So I knew I had to do something. Therefore, I had to come up with a development plan. And that's what we use today.
That's awesome too. So if we're not, we often talk about, is a Black business, are you bankable or you're not bankable and all these type of things. And probably in your world, you're either, in position to be able to receive some of those grants as a fiscal agent or you're not. And so you have to spend time getting our businesses ready for that, ready to play with the big boys, so to speak. And so But I think that's a wonderful commitment on your part, is to provide that development part so that we can take advantage of some of those things.
And the greatest thing is we're winning.
I love that.
For the past 2 years, we have had a 95% success rate. And I have over 40 clients. They have been awarded between $20,000 and $500,000. And one client, his awards are for a 10-year period. So it's more like a $25 million award.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. We really want to maybe unpack a little bit more of that on Tuesday. So for people who are listening this morning and they're saying, well, I thought grants were just for nonprofits only. Who should tune in on Tuesday to find more about the grant process and maybe even the government contracting?
Everybody should tune in. I'll tell you why. So for a small business, 20% of the grants are available for you. 80% for nonprofit organizations. On the contracting side, it's like 90% is going towards small businesses. But here's why I say everybody. I have had people listen to me. I've had grandkids hear me speak somewhere and sign up their grandparents who own a business or run a nonprofit. So, people know people. Right. So our goal, Tony, is to make people aware so that we can get more of us in those spaces. And let me tell you, here's the goal: to close the wealth gap in grants and government contracts for our people so we can create generational wealth, which is what Tony Jackson talks about all the time.
That's what we want to do. And, I'm a math guy, man. And when I look at $850 billion, 20%, that's $170 billion for small business. Not even right. That doesn't even include the nonprofits and those type of things. So, well, I tell you what, the time has went by so fast. If someone is watching tonight and for some reason they're under a rock or something happens and they can't make it on Tuesday and they want to engage in your services, how would they do that? How would they contact you?
Great. So the easiest way is to go to the website, which is imgconsulting.info. So that's imgconsulting.info. Fill out a pre-assessment form so I know what your business needs are, and book an appointment with me. And don't forget to say that you heard me on Tony Jackson's program, and I'll give you a discount.
Make sure you mention the Real Money Coach. Make sure you mention the Real Money Coach. Well, Dr. Michelle, thank you so much. I can't wait for Tuesday as we continue to unpack and do things. So with that, everyone, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, all under The Real Money Coach. Have a great weekend.
We hope you've enjoyed The Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host Tony Jackson. We encourage you to utilize today's strategies and principles to manage your money in the most effective and winning way. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to send us an email, TonyJacksonAgency@gmail.com, or you can reach us on all social media platforms. And if you would like a copy of Tony Jackson's book, Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money, log on to www.therealmoneycoach.com. Until next week's empowering broadcast, God bless.